Hey, it's me. Got the ring light out today. You know, stuff's getting serious when you got the ring light out. Um, hey everybody, how you doing? I think you know the hell stuff turned out really good, and I think I'll like do a little fly through before I get into this stuff. I'm gonna try to tackle the Oasis today and any other questions that you got going on. So let's do this first because this actually turned out well. I think that streaming the end of this versus the beginning probably would have been better because the end of it really, when it started to come together, it came together fast. I don't have a fast way to get down there anymore, but we can just dig. Let's turn our light on. This gives you a sense of how deep the world is nowadays. Run into some caves and some ore down here. Keep going. The worlds are considerably deeper now. I'm thinking about putting a different type of rock down deeper. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I did forget the and then I aborted the thing. Yeah, let's do this. Okay, here we go. Again. Turn my light on, and this gives you kind of an idea how deep the new worlds are. I'm thinking about putting rock down, a different type of rock down deeper, and then maybe having something in the game have something to do with that. There we go. Oh, I can see. Here we go. Oh, that's a bug. So that's our world builder hasn't caught up with how fast we're moving through the world yet, which actually probably wouldn't happen in real life. But you can see it caught up. There we go. Kind of can see the caves and stuff. We're still working on the algorithm that builds the world out efficiently. So that is just a straight up development bug. It's fun to go through these caves, which is we're still going down. There we go. Punch through. Yeah, here we go. So we got the stalactites on the ceiling here. They turned out really good. Hell is taller now by about 10 blocks. And I put some stalagmites on the ground here too, but not enough where it impeded the way that you walked. That was one of the problems that, you know, since the lava will kill you, I had to make sure that there was a place for that, you know, that you could still walk around down here. But I think it's a big improvement. I think it looks like a scarier place. I might do another pass on this and put you know, light up lava into places to kind of light the ceiling up better, and then obviously the background shouldn't be blue like this, but that's something that's easily fixable, and when we do a pass on the sky stuff, I'll fix all that. Yeah, I guess it's a lot of, I advertised this stream in more places than I had been doing the other one. Somebody here asked if the game is going to come out to the Xbox again. I would say it's not up to me, but yes, that's the plan. We're doing this in an engine that we can move to every platform, so hopefully we would be on as many platforms as possible. I definitely want to be on the Xbox again. Love to be on the PS5. And at some point I'd like a mobile version of the game, which will be so much easier now that we have this engine versus the XNA game. Also, we got the new lava here. This is stand-in. This will eventually change into something cooler. But the new lava will be like a liquid that you can go in. In fact, I can dive under the lava here and see what the floor looks like. One of the things I did here, which we used to have this really uneven bedrock surface on the bottom. Let me do it somewhere. Yeah, I think anywhere here is going to have lava. I just flattened the bedrock out because it gives me 3 more blocks to work with, I guess this is the first time where I've violated the rules. Like as I've been building this, I've been making sure that I maintain the original Castle Miner game, so that there'll be a mode where you could play the original Castle Miner world without the modifications. But this is the first time where I deviated from this because I don't think there was a lot of value in having the rough bedrock down here, and it just made everything so much easier just to have one layer of bedrock on the bottom. Looking through the comments here really quick. Yeah, there's a lot of people. Yeah, a lot of people are interested in sort of like where, you know, what what we're going to add to the game, or what we're going to do with it. The idea of making your own avatars, I would say, somebody's asked here if you're going to be able to make your own avatars, and lots of people have asked this. I think in the initial version of the game, we will probably not have a customizable player system. Just because it's a lot of work and there isn't an easy way to do it. And if we were going to do it, we want to do it in a way where the game put together. But I want to build a good player character. I never liked the SWAT character that much, so we're going to build out something that like better suits the game, I think. Let's teleport. Oh, you know what's cool? I'm going to do this. I'm going to go out to like the Descent and look at sort of what hell looks like out here. Again, the sky is this is all the sky is stand-in, but I thought this was really cool because you start seeing the stalactites on, you know, things inside of the hell thing. I don't remember. I have to go back and look at the original world builder. The hell was supposed to collapse at the very end, and it does it now. But I'm not sure that it did it in the first version of the game. If you fly through like sort of the last parts of hell here, you could see that the ceiling is starting to like crush you. And eventually it gets so narrow that you have to kind of squeeze out of it. But this is the place where like the stalactites and the stalagmites start to connect with each other. And above us, the world is kind of fracturing. In fact, we could probably go through a hole here and do this. But I think this turned out good. I think that this was a small addition, and I think it really made stuff better. And Unreal does, the lighting in Unreal is just amazing. Like the way that these blocks light up and the light bounces around is just, it's just really great. Oh, it's nighttime outside. It's funny. Yeah, the descent here is more interesting because the world is so much deeper, the descent is longer. So this area is much bigger than it used to be. So this was typically something that you kind of just ran down at the end, and it's just going to be a longer run. I think it's almost twice as long now. And the other thing that I was, well, now that I'm here showing stuff off, that I was excited about is that the descent kind of looked like a stairway before, which I didn't really like, and I broke that up. In fact, I broke all the boundaries up, and the boundary between the Arctic and the descent was like a line, and it looked really ugly, but I got that blending really well, where it's almost like glaciers that are pouring out into the other landscape. So you could see, instead of this line where the snow just ended and the other, I put up a picture somewhere where there was the snow had just ended and the other biome came together. Now that there's this really nice broken up boundary, and I broke up the boundaries with all the biomes. I had a way where like the biomes used to be rings, and I kind of made the rings like these undulated rough edges. So now they're you know, just for the sake of the stream, we could just do a quick fly through, because a lot of this stuff looks really good now. So there's this, you know, there's this nice blending between the descent and the Arctic, Um, let's go. Stuff looks better in the day. I'm gonna pop out here and adjust the time of day back to the morning. And it's totally not gonna let me do that. Wow. This is interesting because I've done this before. Well, the sun will come up eventually. Actually, let's just here is super easy for us to reset. So let's just stop. It's 10 a.m. again. Teleport out to 4400. Probably be good. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, we can just do this climb through. Take a couple minutes. I see comments here from Triptych, who's our art director. So, there's gonna be a bunch of surprises with the skies. So I don't want to talk about the skies too much until it's in. Like, we'll definitely do another stream with the sky, but there'll be a lot of different skies. I think that's what I'll say. Yeah, somebody here is saying that they're surprised that we've come back and we're like in full force, and it's just this. There was just some amazing luck that everybody was able to get together and do this again, and I could not be happier with how it's turning out. Like it's, I wanted to make sure that when we redid this, that it really was like a really true remastering, not just sort of like a like just like a cheap remake. And we're rebuilding everything from the ground up in Unreal Engine, and the lighting in Unreal Engine is just unbelievable. It's all real-time ray tracing. You kind of see this when you get into these dark areas, but here we are, we're moving through the Arctic. And I'm gonna fly up to the mountains, and I'll probably shoot out to the desert. Yeah, where you see the gaps here, this is all, we're still working on the world builder. Now, here's a good example of the worlds blending together, is that you see the mountains are like coming in slowly, like where they used to be sort of like they would kind of end and you walked out of them, but now there's a nice blending between the Arctic and the mountains here. The other thing too is I've maintained all the original Castle Miner world building, so there'll be most likely be a mode where you can hit a button and get the exact same Castle Miner world that you got in the past. I've like maintained all the code. Oh, there's a face. That is like straight up a face. Like, that thing needs to talk to me. This biome is pretty much the same. I changed the ore distribution a little bit, so you don't see ore in the mountains. You'll see coal, but not anything else. You have to go deeper now to get different ores. And what I'll do is I'll fly out of here, trying to find the direction that takes me. I need a compass. I need to bring the compass back. And I'll just fly into the desert, and then I'll pop over to one of the oases because they turned out well. Somebody's asking here about Total Miner, and we talked about this a little bit on the last stream. Is like, yeah, I absolutely remember Total Miner. Me and the developer would talk constantly, behind the scenes, and we had a very good relationship. We did some cross promotions at one point. It was a great game. Somebody's asking here about the Castle Miner main menu theme. I love that song. Here you go. Here's the and it's definitely going to be in the new game. So here's the good, like the desert kind of used to end and go into the mountains, and now they kind of blend together in a really natural way. I was happy about how this turned out. You can kind of get a sense of the lighting here. I wish I could. I don't know why I can't adjust the time of day. Oh, there we go. We get a nice... Let's try pausing it. We'll get a nice sunset there. Oh, sun went down a little too fast here. At least we know we can pause things and turn them back. Somebody's asking here if there's going to be new features or is it a remaster. There is definitely going to be new stuff. Haven't decided what. I want it to be true to the game, not like a completely different game, but it will be very, very similar. I can shoot out to... I got one of these marked. I think it's this one. Oh, there was an oasis right there. I wrote these down. Yeah, somewhere around here. Oh, here we go. Oh, this is weird. This is palm trees growing in a alien crash site. This shouldn't happen, but it thinks it's an oasis. But I have a fix for this that I'm gonna do. The crash sites there's less of them now because there was way too many of them, but they're bigger. In general, so I changed the distribution of that a little bit, and I thought I had marked this area off. Oh yeah, here we go. There's a big oasis here in this part of the desert. And I think in two streams ago we did the oasis. What's ice here is eventually going to be running water. The ice is just a stand-in for this. This one isn't that good because there's just happens to be not a lot of trees in this one because there's usually palm trees in the oases. So let's... I have a location marked here. Let me try this. Oops. This is... it's really easy in Unreal Engine to accidentally stop the game. Yeah, here we go. This was the one I was thinking of. Yeah, so we have a little desert oasis here. This eventually will be like simulating water, not ice, and you know there's some palm trees around the oasis. We're working on the texture for the palm trees. Somebody here is asking about not putting the crash sites near the spawn. The crash sites were never near the spawn. The crash sites only started to appear in the lagoon. I think right now it's still set up like that. But all the biomes are bigger now. They're almost all double size. So, like before, when you ran through the game, it was like you were coming into crash sites everywhere, and now I have this set up where if you do the whole distance all the way out to the end, you usually run into like 1 to 2 crash sites, which is a way better distribution. But the crash sites are bigger, so there's more stuff in it. So let me, this brings us to the lagoon. And I think that's what I was going to work on today. I've spent this afternoon trying to get the code sort of wrangled up on the lagoon so that I can do work on it. It's a little bit more exciting here. Lagoon is like at 1,000 now. Surprised I don't have one of those. So this is a bad build. Okay, let me stop this and just do it really quick. I think I'd put this back in. So it's interesting that a lot of this code is from the original Castle Miner game. not even the original Castle Miner Z. So it's stuff that nobody has looked at in like, 15 years or something like that. So it takes a while for me to sort of get my head around it. Okay, here's the lagoon. If you remember the original Castle Miner game, the ground here was all water, and we didn't have water, so we just put sand out here. But the idea here was that this was supposed to be like a water. There was supposed to be water around this land. I kind of like the sand, so I'm gonna try to preserve both. And this is gonna be my next goal going forward. Is that I want kind of pools of water inside the sand here, but a mixture of both. And I can think of 3 or 4 different ways to do that. And we're going to play around with this. But first we're going to have to like deconstruct this land and figure out how it's put together so that we can clean up all the code to get everything back together again. But before I do that, I'm going to go through the comments here and answer any questions that you have, because people seem to have a lot of questions last time. So let me pop out of here and yeah, somebody here is asking about the soundtrack to the game. One of my favorite things to do in putting games together is doing the soundtracks for them. So I think my guess is we'll probably have a lot of the same music and then probably a mixture of new stuff in there as well. Somebody here was talking about the Discord channel for Castle Miner. You should put a link in here for this. The community has been running this Discord channel for years. It's not my Discord channel, it's theirs. There's a lot of great people there, and if you're interested in this, because I know that I send out invites on this on several different channels. The Discord channel I'm on every single day, so if you have questions or concerns or things you want to see, I'm posting screenshots there constantly. You can go to the Discord channel and you can ask me questions directly, because I've been there interacting with the community there. There's somebody here is saying that that you were you have a question about making a film on me. I haven't. I get a lot of messages on Instagram and LinkedIn that a lot of them are not very useful. So I'll follow up on that if that's something that you're serious about. Somebody here is asking about if we're going to abandon the art style. I mean, you're looking at it right now. Like, I'm trying to keep the art as true to the original game, and that being the original Xbox game, as possible. So what I want to have is like a modernized version of the original art, and I think we've done a really good job with this. Like, you could see how Unreal does lighting, and it just makes such a big difference compared to the to the way that it used to be. Like, we didn't have this sort of sophisticated ray trace lighting on the Xbox. But it's all pretty much the same art. Like, it's all pretty much, it's things that look the same, and all, things that are, it's, basically the same blocks, the same textures, but just dressed up a little bit. Yeah, is it possible to put the Discord link on here? Or is there some sort of, like, filter that prevents you from doing it? So, like, the Discord people could definitely drop the link on here. Yeah, I'm trying to see if I didn't see a link in the channel. I'm wondering if it's filtering out your... Yeah, somebody's asking here that I've said in the past that I wanted the original game to be like Terraria, and yeah, somebody's saying here, let me find the link. This is important. Let me find the links to the Discord. I'm like so unfamiliar. Is this the right link, you guys? I think this is the. Does that work for everybody? Yeah, I don't. Here, did that work for you? Okay, we're gonna watch Tom learn how to share a Discord link server today. I appreciate you guys being so patient with me. Oh, I got it. Nope. There we go. Is that the right link? Currently, somebody's asking here if we have a note somewhere about if we have notes somewhere about what we're going to be working on and what are our plans in the future. And we don't. There was something like this in the past, but we probably should have something like that. I have to be honest, is right now we've been really concerned with just getting the world builder up and getting the world to look like really amazing, because to me, if we couldn't make the world look amazing, there was kind of like no point in like doing the rest of it. So all of our first milestone is getting the world to look really amazing, and then after that we're going to work on player mechanics, like getting the hands and the weapons and everything to feel good in the environment. But during that time period, yeah, I would love to hear your suggestions for things, and I'm sure that the people in the Discord community would probably facilitate setting up some sort of way to organize ideas for the game. There's a lot of stuff that we could do, but like honestly, right now we're just kind of focusing on getting a version of the game up that is very similar to what the Xbox version was, and getting that across multiple platforms. And then once we have that, we can like build and add on to that. We also have a plan for like a long-term process of building updates into the game over regular intervals for a long time. But again, we're still it's a small team, and we're still sort of like getting things up and running. Yeah, the Discord people are saying here that they'll put an FAQ up. That's great, and collecting people's ideas is another great thing to do, because it's hard for us to do all of these things at once. Somebody's asking here about which consoles the game would come out to. The idea is we're going to release it on all platforms, because we're using a engine that allows us to go on all platforms. The problem we had in the past was that the game was built in XNA, which was a great engine for the Xbox 360, but kind of that's it. It was actually really difficult to port to the PC and almost impossible to port anywhere else. And porting anywhere else meant having to do like a full rebuild of the game. And we're now building this in an engine from the ground up, where we could do this full rebuild of the game. Okay, so let's start working on the Oasis here a little bit. Originally, when I started doing these things, I was kind of thinking that this would just be me working. And because it, like, a lot of times when the stuff starts coming together, it's a really interesting, it's kind of entertaining to watch, and it happens in a relatively short period of time. But some of these have been, a lot of people, I was surprised at how many people showed up for these and how many questions that they had. So let's start here. Well, let's take a look at the Oasis before we start messing with it again. That's not where I want to be. This is good. So the Oasis was an interesting biome. This came directly from the first Castle Miner world, and if you look carefully, what it is it's actually the original biome. This tree is like stuck in the ground here. That's an interesting. Does this one have a? It does have a trunk. Just a little tree. It's the original biome with these land islands put in, and the islands are capped by dirt, and there's sand underneath. One of the things I noticed as I was trying to deconstruct this is that the sand ends up going right to rock. I'm not sure I like that. I think I might put a layer of dirt inside, especially if the sand ends up working different in the final game. But I have to sort of deconstruct how this is built so I can figure out where the water would go inside of this. So one of the things I can do here is I'm looking at the code right here that generates the lagoon, and I can just turn off the land islands. I have this separated up and out enough where I can do that. And what I end up with somebody here is talking about me being monetized on YouTube. I'd like to take a second to talk about this. Like, at some point I lost my monetization on my YouTube channel. The only thing I need left to get it back is watch hours. So if anybody, if you take any of these streams and you just like turn them on in the background or something, it ends up helping me a lot. There's like a threshold I have to get it up to for watch hours. And I'm not really interested in monetizing my YouTube channel, but what I'd like to do is remove the ads from things like my trailers, and if I monetize, I have control of doing that. So this is something that I need your help on. Obviously, like, watching the streams and being here is super great. But if you want to help us out, the best thing you could do right now is just like take one of our previous streams or something, just run it for a while. Because it's actually not that many hours that I need, but I need a certain threshold to get over to doing it. I was looking at our trailers, and I was noticing that YouTube was playing ads over them, and I was surprised at how the policies have changed over the years, where YouTube will now, if you're not monetized, will run ads over your stuff, even if you're not making any revenue for it. So those aren't my ads; they're YouTube's ads, and I would like that to stop. I have strong feelings about playing ads over trailers because I feel like it's like double advertising, and it's not something I would have ever chose to do. So I'm trying to get my monetization back to so I could stop this. So here we're back in the Oasis now, and you can see that the Oasis, here's the sort of the sand gap that is in between the Oasis and the first biome. Interesting thing here, which you could see, is that this used to be a solid line, and now it's all broken up. Like, this is another one of the enhancements that I did here. Like, the biomes used to be literally like rings, but now the edges of these biomes are actually like sort of coastal patterns. Somebody's talking about the subs and the hours I need. You're right. It's there's 3,000 hours I need. I think I have the subs. I think I have everything else required, but it's the watch hours that I have. So yeah, again, any like super helpful thing if you could just run our videos here in the next couple months. At least come watch us, and then just if you're front of your computer, just run a video and see if we can get us up to that 3,000 hour mark. With the amount of people in the community, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. I think it'll happen eventually, but at least then I could stop running ads in the trailers. So here's the rough edge now of the classic biome, and now we have the rough edge here of the lagoon that's separated by this sand gap. That was a deliberate design. The level of the original biome goes down and the other one picks up, and it leaves this sand gap in between. And if you remember from the original game, this was the point where the music would play. Like, this is like you would get the first biome music would happen right as you cross this threshold. And I always thought this was very, very deliberate for me. I always thought, like, you know, you messed around in this world for a while, especially if you were playing on like the trial on the Xbox, and then you explored a little bit. It was a lot smaller. Like, you could see here we're at 650 meters. The original biome was only 300 meters. And then you got this idea that there was like more out there, because like the whole purpose of Chaos Miner was to explore the world. So it played this music and it brought you over the ledge, and it showed you that there was another world out there, and the lagoon was the next one. But the lagoon is really just a mixture of the first biome with the overhangs in it. So I took the overhangs out, and now we're seeing this biome for what it is. I think I want to structure this a little bit better, but I think I could put water, and I should just try this to see how it looks. I could put water inside of these, like inside the boundary of these places pretty easily. I think that was going to be my first pick. The other thing was to like lay another set of like pools over this that are not coordinated with the geometry, which I think is what we're going to end up with. It'll just be easier to do. Oh, here you can see, it's funny, we're watching the sunset and we're watching the shadows creep over the world as the sun is setting out there. It's pretty cool. Yeah, Triptych is here, our art director, talking about this, and he was talking about how XBLIG made character creation really easy because the avatars were kind of like a free thing. In fact, when we were making our games, it was sort of like a gift, because we didn't have to worry about player characters when we made the game. It actually took a lot of work off of us. But building a full-blown character customization, he's saying it's like half of a game, basically. Like, yeah, like we could spend probably the same amount of time building the whole game as we could building a character customization. So it would be great to have that. So what we could do is we could make we could start with the first version of the game, and if people are playing it and are interested in it, it would give us the ability to build out something like a character customization. The other thing too I want to say is that I should put a link in the chat too, is that we have a Kickstarter which will probably be running at some point. Right now it's not open, but it's like you can follow it for information, and if you haven't already, you can follow the Kickstarter, and when we have the game far enough along where we know what we would do with the money, we will run the Kickstarter. So if you can, what can I pin 2 of these? No, I can't pin 2 of these. Well, I'm going to leave the Discord channel up there in the Kickstarter. But if you haven't signed up to be a press the notify button. I think I have it right here. Like if you go to the Kickstart thing and just tell it to notify me, at least it'll show you that when we decide to launch it. And you guys have been the most supportive fan base ever over the years. So I mean I appreciate everything that you've done, and like just buying and playing the game is like more than enough. We've never done a crowdfunding thing before, but I think that we could actually really use it on this product. We're a really small team, and we have like sort of a limited runway of what we could do, so it would really open up a lot of possibilities for us. Let's go back out to the Oasis again, and I'm trying to figure out what to do here. We could just try to drop some water in here and see what that looks like. Let's see. I think the original Castle Miner had a water plane. It was all water, but I would like a mixture of sand and water. And this is done with a clip, so this is actually going to be difficult. Let's just try. Let's just try this to see how it looks. This is the simpler doing it. So what this is doing is running another layer of noise on top of this, and oops, I'm just gonna put ice in here for now. Another layer of noise on top of this. In places where there would have been sand, it's placing ice water there at the same time. So let's just see how that looks. Somebody's asking here if I've looked through the suggestion tab on Discord. I really, really appreciate you guys collecting and putting that suggestions together. I have gone through it, but right now, obviously, it's about priorities, about getting things running before we could really start thinking about ways to put stuff in there. I'm just trying. I've spent a lot of time with the world builder, trying to get the world builder up into. Okay, so this is interesting. So we got little pools of water. This is actually really easy to do, and this may end up what we end up doing. I don't like the distribution of the pools right now. Let's just throw the overhangs back in there for a second to see how that all ties together. Like, man, this would have been, if this works out, this was the much faster solution of doing this. The other one, to make it like sand on the outside with water on the inside, is going to be tough. Like right now, this is ice in here, and the ice is gonna look cooler too. It's like this is all just stand-in stuff. I don't think there's enough water, but that's an easy thing to fix. But this actually, I kind of like the uneven mixture of, yeah, like little pools like this, like the uneven mixture of sand and water. The other thing too is I could drop the water down like one level, so it kind of steps down from the sand, so it's not equal. I think we're seeing we're leaving the boundary, yeah. We're going in. It's interesting because it's water ending up in the transition zones, which we may not want. definitely not enough water. I would say that. Okay, so the real quick fix to this right away is to just change that threshold and make it so there's more water. So if we just do this, we'll get a lot more water. Somebody's asking if there's a place to donate to us. There is not a place to donate to us. What I really appreciate you trying to do this. Typically, we've never done any sort of crowdfunding before. To me, is if you, I always said, like, go buy one of our games. It's like the best thing that you could do. Like, I feel like you should get something for that money. But if you want to, like, just, I would say sign up on the Kickstarter, and when that runs, we'll definitely need your support to get it pushed through. Okay, so this is a lot more water. Probably, this is hard to me because this was always supposed to be sort of a wet area. And this actually might be the right amount of water. No, we're going the wrong way. I really need to build a compass in here. It's maybe a little too much. Somebody's asking questions here. The first question they're asking for is anti-cheat. We will do everything we can to prevent cheaters from screwing things up. And the other one was that if there's a leaderboard for dragons killed in blocks mined, that's super easy. We could definitely do something like that. See, I'm actually liking this. There's still sandy areas and there's still water areas. Man, that looks like a cockpit up there. That's for like an airplane cockpit. In these bigger areas we should see... Oh, here's a crash site with water. These will look so cool, like if the water is simulating. Like basically like pouring into the crash sites. I've debated whether they're... Oh, we're in the desert already. I've debated whether the crash site should be in the lagoon or not. See, that's all water down there. I think we need to break it up a little bit. There seems to be like the spots of water are like too big. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to I'm gonna take the land islands out again, and I'm gonna the overhangs, and I'm gonna just look at how the water's distributed through I think this is the strategy I'm gonna take, though. I don't think I'm gonna try to like trace out the beaches. I like the when you get like interfering noise with each other, you get interesting patterns, and that's what we're seeing here. But I will probably dip the water down under the sand, so it's not even with it. Let's go out to... Okay, so this is what the water distribution looks like without the hills. And to me, this is too big. Like, so we should shrink these down a little bit. One of the things I do here, I have this noise visualization tool that I always keep going back to understand when so we need to double that number. I think that's what we're probably looking for. It's too much. So let's go back to the place where we're rolling the water, and let's build a scalar constant. I will leave the 4 octaves in for now. Yeah, somebody's asking here that we are, if there's going to be new creatures in the game. That is just like such an obvious, that's such an obvious one. It's, you know, out of all the things to put in, the creatures are easy. I have plans for new creatures. I don't know what'll be there when we launch. Most likely all the old creatures, but I would definitely like to have new creatures, yeah. We're going to start over. Okay, so here we have these pools. Now the pools are a little bit more, they're smaller and they're a little bit more broken up. The edges are a little too rough though. Let's try to roll this back down to 2 octaves and see how that goes. Yeah, somebody's asking here. You're saying you're a big fan. I really appreciate. I really appreciate. I said this in the last thread. Is in the last talk that we were at. Is that the support that you guys have given us has dramatically changed everybody's lives. It's allowed everybody to do something that they love every single day, and I can't express how much gratitude and impact all of that has had on my life. Like I'm so grateful for you, and I think about it. I literally think about it every day. That if it wasn't for the people that supported us so much over the years, that like things would be so different. And the question they had was, is there going to be meteor impacts and aliens still? And I think in the earlier part of the stream we saw them. Yeah, that's all still in there. I changed the distribution a little bit, but definitely still keeping the aliens and the impact crash sites. Let's see. That I like a little better. This feels like pools. The edges are a little less rough. I'm getting these sharp lines though. It's one of the side effects. No, that's about right. Obviously would not, this is a transition zone. Where are we? Yeah, this is the transition zone. Obviously we would stop the water from occurring in the transition zone, but probably in this area, this is probably, excuse me, probably very close to what we're looking for. Man, I thought this was going to be a much longer thing to do, but this is actually looking exactly what I would expect. What do you guys think? Like, what do you think? Okay, well, let's put the overhangs in, and then we'll make a decision about it. Put the overhangs back in. Somebody's asking here if the laser weapons were going to go in there, and 100% laser weapons will be back, and they will definitely crash the game just like before. Joking, of course, but... Somebody here is asking about the lucky blocks, if they're still available, and I'm going to say no. And I'm going to tell the story about the lucky blocks. So late in the, I'm trying to think of what year it ended up having. I think it was around 2016. We hired an external company to do updates for Castle Miner. They did a really great job. I appreciated the work that they did, but I didn't agree with all of the design decisions, and it really took the game in a direction that I wasn't. Not that it was bad; it just wasn't my original vision for the game. So I've talked about this before. Is my original vision of the game was like a 3D Terraria, a game where there was like a big world to explore, and there was a progression you went through a crafting system. One of the things that we did very early in the game creation is I spent a lot of time balancing out the distribution of everything so that there was kind of a progression that you went through. I kind of felt like the lucky blocks kind of ruined that. You know, like there was a... See, I'm seeing these corners here. I know that's kind of bothering me. Where are we here at? 1,000. I got to write this down. 1,012 and 51. Let's go back here and see if I break that up a little bit. But anyways, I felt like the lucky blocks kind of ruined the work that I had put into like the distribution. And I would have liked to go further in the other direction. I would have liked to have a lot more enemies and enemies that drop specific things and a lot of things that you could craft. Versus just like giving you more stuff easier. So I think it's really, really unlikely that the lucky blocks are going to come back. Somebody's asking here, is going to be a live service game after updates? We 100% have a plan right now in place to do live service in our game. We have somebody who is very, very experienced at that, that's already on staff, that's planning for this. So the idea of doing a live service is like part of the core thing. But a lot of this will revolve around how much support we get for the game when it comes out. So if the game comes out and like nobody plays it, it's going to be really, really hard for us to do. It's going to be impossible for us to live service it. So like again, it really comes down to you guys of like your support for, you know, or your support for the game in general. And the best thing you can do is when the game comes out is to like, you know, play it, review it, things like that. Make videos. Somebody's asking here if the water is going to be flowing. The answer to that tentatively right now is yes. We had flowing water in Castle Miner Warfare, and the plan is to bring the simulation system from Castle Miner Warfare over to this and run the same thing. And somebody's asking I had the same issue with the water, is that I said this in one of my posts or something where it's, you know, if you dug to hell, hell would fill up with water, but we'll figure out that whole system. Somebody's saying here is that they're hoping that the live service isn't scamming anyone. I don't exactly know what you're talking about, but obviously we're not setting up a system to scam you. We would be setting up a system to give you more content over time to, you know, ideally keep you happy and keep you playing. What were we doing here? Oh, we were going to adjust the octaves, and I wrote down a coordinate, and we were going to go back to that one. Yeah, here it is. So I was going to adjust the octaves on the water just so that the edges were a little bit rougher. Yeah, let's go for... the octaves on the noise make the noise less regular. So here is a noise with one octave. It's like really smooth. If I add a second octave, it gets rougher. Add a third octave, it gets even rougher than that. And you know, some of the, like we go up to 6 octaves on some of the stuff in the game. So I'm seeing edges of the water that look like this, and even at 2 octaves, I'm still seeing sort of rough areas, which surprised me. But at 3, we should see most of those go away. Yeah, somebody's asking if there's a sneak peek at other features in the future. Like in general, I'm really, really nervous about announcing things that haven't gotten done yet because people tend to like um, get disappointed if they don't come out. And a lot of times you either run out of time or priorities to do things, um, and it's you know, if I go and say we're going to do something and we don't do it, then people are going to get really upset. So I intend, like usually, like if I'm announcing something, it's like 100% sure that it's something we're going to work on. Like we're like somebody is working on the water right now. I'm almost afraid to say that because if it doesn't work out for some reason, but I think there's probably like a 90% chance that the water is it's enough where I'm spending the time to put the water in the game, even though it's not there yet. Yes, we were going to bump this up, and then we were going to try this. Yeah. And I'm going to shoot right out to the place where we were. Still have water down there. You could imagine these being like dark pools of water. This would actually probably look good. I'm wondering if I could get it to dip down though. I think that the water should be like one level down. And I think if I could see that, I probably would just, yeah, I like this. There's just little pools everywhere. Let's see if we go out in the distance a little bit. I think we're entering into the desert now. Obviously, we have to stop the water from being in these places. I think I'd like to try one more thing, though, before we do that. I think I would like to... again, make the water maybe a little bigger. Let's just try that first. Somebody is asking here if the map is auto-generated or it's pre-made. It's such an interesting thing to me about this game is that it's all generated on the fly from a single mathematical function. Basically, the code that we're looking at here basically is a mathematical function that generates the entire world, and it can generate it different every time, or it can generate it the same if you want it. Yeah, those are much bigger pools of water, but it literally takes no data for us to generate this world. Like there's like no disk space or anything for us to generate. It's all generated on the fly. I actually kind of like this. Wait a second. And one of the things that I thought was cool about Castle Miner, especially on the 360, was that we only save the blocks that are changed. So the size of the worlds were so small, and this is why on the 360 you could play it, like it kept a history of every single person's world that you ever played it. Now I didn't realize that upset people as much as they did, but you know, each world was only like a couple bytes, you know, like maybe like 1,000 bytes. So we just kept the history on the Xbox of every single world that you had ever been in. We kept a history of every single world that you had ever been in, and it didn't really take up much space at all. Yeah. Somebody asked if I know what microtransactions are. Yes, I do know what microtransactions are. I don't know how we're going to set up the structure for that in the future. I don't know if there'll be microtransactions or not in the game yet. Not a huge fan of it, but like it's I get why people do them. I think for me, it's about like, you know, it's about making a really good game first before we do any of that. I don't know. This changes things a little bit. Oh yeah, I was going to clamp the water off a little bit. Let's try doing that. This is cool. This would end up being a waterfall in the if we were doing this the right way. So like structures like that will end up looking cool. It makes me wonder if I should put water on the tops of these too. Like that's something I could do, and I could have water flowing over the tops of them. That's actually a really good idea. Let me see what it would take to drop the water in. Excuse me. See what it would take to drop the water into the sand a little bit. Here's the place where we're dropping the water in. I think this would actually do it. Whatever I did not have the effect that I thought it would. Seems like it removed the sand completely. And this is the other biome. Now I got sand over water, which is not what I wanted. Yeah, people are asking here about ideas for new enemies. I do have ideas, but I don't I don't want to say them unless they're going to be real. Um, Somebody's asking here about flying zombies. I think flying zombies would be interesting, but I probably would have like a different flying creature. That totally did that work? No, we did not get what we were trying to get. This is what I'm looking for. I guess before I do it, I could just see if I like. I'm not even sure I really like that. This is cool. You can see in the ice here, you can see the reflections really, really good. Like how this is actually reflecting around the corner. That's part of the ray tracing. When these get dialed in and the ice is the new ice and everything, this will look really cool with the water reflecting too. Like it'll be really beautiful. Yeah, somebody here was talking about the Grim Reaper. I know what you're talking about. He did not make it into the original game. In general, I don't want to add things just for the sake of adding them. I'd love everything to have like a purpose in the game. So like when I think of that stuff, I have to also think about like why, how it would contribute to the game design. I don't think I want to keep you on the stream while I figure out how to solve this little esoteric problem. So why don't we do like a quick, I'll just pop out here and we'll do a quick Q&A and then I think we've been on here for about an hour and 15 minutes and I'll finish this up on my own. And again, I'll post screenshots out to the Discord channel. So there's the link here in the chat for the Discord channel. I usually am posting things several times a day over there. Somebody's asking here if we're going to make a story mode for the game. I think part of the beauty of these games is that you get to sort of make your own story. So I can't imagine putting an actual like narrative story into it, but it's definitely something we could consider. Somebody's asking here about the HUD. I would imagine we would probably have. They're asking if we're going to bring back the old hut. I think we probably would have a completely new one. I think that's one of the places that we could probably just redo. And somebody's here is asking about the water worlds. I've heard that comment several times. I think the idea of a water world is interesting. We actually, there's one of, it's right in here. There is a bunch of biomes that never made it into the game, and one of them here is an ocean biome that never made it in. It's been sitting in the code for all of them and carried over. And there's a coastal one, which actually is from the original Castle Miner, but the coastal one, you know, that's something. Once the water goes in, I might actually make areas that have much more water. Putting an ocean in is difficult because it cuts like enormous places of the map away, and you know, like you could run into that. You know, like if you went in one direction, you might run into the ocean and have to like walk for like a really long distance around. This is interesting. Somebody is asking about the Lampland or Lantern Land in the end. So I think I've told this story many times, but the Lantern Land was a bug, and I was shocked that people went out there. I think it was at 60,000 blocks, and what happened at 60,000 blocks was the math overloaded. Like the numbers got too big for the computer to calculate the math based on how we were doing it, and what it did was it turned everything in the world past that point to the middle of the tower. So if you think of the middle of the tower, it's a long piece of bedrock with a lantern on the top, and everything past that point ended up being that. It was completely an accident. And it wasn't intentional, but I always thought this was something really cool. This was completely emergent. Like when you guys found the Lantern Land, you were like the first person ever to see it. Like it's completely like had nothing to like we had never even seen it before. And I remember we went back through the code to figure out exactly where the bug was that caused the Lantern Land, and we found it, and we deliberately didn't. We could have fixed it, but we deliberately didn't fix it because everyone seemed to really like this. So we're definitely not going to reintroduce the bug into the world. One of the things I always thought kind of sucked about that was that it limited the size of the world. Like we literally had an infinite world that you could just go on forever, but after 670, somebody put the number on here, 76,000 blocks, there was no world anymore. It was just lanterns forever. There's no way that we could take that bug out without doing something out there as like an homage to the Lantern Land. We have to respect the Lantern Land and give it the respect it deserves, and make sure that there's something out there that pays homage to it. But I think it's unlikely that we're going to design the game again so that it's just after 76,000 blocks, it's like lanterns forever. That there'll be something out there, and it'll be fun because when you get to play, you'll get to go out there and see what we put out there. But definitely, I would never ship the game without having something out there, because I understand how important Lantern Land was to everybody. When we made this game, it's interesting. The other games, and maybe I'm talking out of step here, were not infinite on the Xbox, and I was insistent from the very beginning that our game had to be an infinite world, and I wanted to give you reasons to go out and explore an infinite world instead of just like staying by the origin and building a little thing. So I was so insistent that it was an infinite world. And it was interesting because when Minecraft came to the Xbox, the worlds were actually really small compared to ours. But we knew, I remember having this talk with John, our other engineer, and we knew that there'd be problems out there. And we didn't know where we were going to run into problems. And I remember vividly having the discussion. He says, when you go out there, there's going to be weird stuff happening. And I was like, yeah, let's just see what happens. usually what happens is, and this is what was so interesting to me about it. Like usually in games, if you get really, really far away from the origin, like the 0, 0 coordinates in the center, what happens usually is you start to penetrate walls and things like that. And this happened more commonly in games in that era that were using 32-bit math instead of 64-bit math. 64-bit math really, really, really pushes that distance out really far, but at a relatively small distance from the origin, you'll start seeing problems where like the graphics won't work right. Like if you had the triangles that make up things start to separate, and you get gaps in between things, and if you like poke into the like you'll start penetrating walls and things like that. But the Lantern Land took us by surprise because it happened at a much smaller space than normally the math precision start happening. So it was but it was super cool. Like it was a super cool bug. Like that bug could have been done. It could have just crashed when you went out there. But the fact that, and it was so weird because I remember the day I was watching videos of it and I was like, this can't be. Like how could this have happened? And we couldn't understand why you would get this like giant sheer wall with lanterns on top. And when we found out it was the tower, which was, like here we got the tower, the canonical, tower of the, that we thought that was like sort of the coolest thing ever because the tower was like a symbol for the game. And, Lantern Land was just essentially like the tower, taking on, it's like becoming like self-aware and doing its own thing. So I'll take another question or two here, and I think I'm going to wrap things up. I think we've been out here for an hour and a half. Before I do, I just want to thank everybody for showing up to this and coming out like this right now. Like we were saying this earlier in the stream that like I'm trying to get my monetization back on YouTube, and like the thing I need is watch hours. So everybody coming here to these streams, like even if it's in the background on your computer or something, is really helping us out right now. And watching these after the fact is helping us out. So this is the sort of the best way the community can help us out right now. We want to get our monetization back, not so I can monetize videos, but so that I can take the ads off of our videos. Like that's what I'm really hoping to do, because YouTube will play ads on your video now, even if you're not monetizing them. If you're not monetized, you don't have control over that. Again, I want to also point out that we've pinned the link to the Discord channel for people that didn't see this at the beginning of the stream. This Discord channel is 100% community run. The people running it have done a really great job of doing this over the years. Super devoted. It's run really great. It's not our channel. It's the community's channel. But I'm there every single day. Like the first thing I do when I wake up is I read the what's going on in the Discord channel there. So if you want to like have contact with me, or suggest things for the game, or you want to see screenshots, I'm dumping screenshots there all day long. If you want to see that, like definitely join the Discord channel to do that. And I'm going to put one more link, since I haven't done it in a while, to the Kickstarter here. Again, we're not running this Kickstarter yet, but you're just signed up to get notifications for it, and it gives us a good sense of what of how many people are actually interested in the game in general. That's one of the things that we'd like to gauge with the Kickstarter thing. And if you want to donate when it comes out available, that would be really helpful too. But we're going to wait till we're a little bit further on to do that. Somebody's asking here about merchandise for Castle Miner Z. We actually had, it's funny, we had plans for merchandise back in the early days. I used to have a Castle Miner Z shirt that I used to wear around. I had a couple of them made. If people are interested in merchandise, I can definitely put more merchandise together. One of the things that we were, that I was going to make was I was contracting a place to make little bloodstone bullets, like a keychain thing that was like, like it was like the diamond casing with the bloodstone tip. That was another one. But if you guys are actually really interested in merchandise, it's definitely something I could look into right now. Yeah, shirts. I think that would probably be the easiest thing to do because I used to do art for I used to do art for all the shirts of the games that I made. I used to wear them around, and there was a place where you could buy them. I haven't had that in a long time, but if that's something that you want, um, that would be really great. Yeah, somebody's asking here about getting the old fans to play the new version. Yeah, it's difficult for us to update the old version. There's technical reasons for that, but I agree with you. I think that getting those people to come on board would be a great thing. So we're here. It's just about 6 o'clock where I am. I'm gonna have to wrap things up. I'm gonna work on the lagoon through the night and post screenshots again in the Discord channel, and probably do another one of these tomorrow. So I'd love to see everybody back. Again, like watching these really helps us out, and I appreciate the support. So thank you very much.